So who knows? Maybe it's live. Maybe it's not live. Maybe it's live. Maybe it's Memorex. Who knows? The question from yesterday, as we talked about the pyramid of the progression in life, how we start with our experiences, and our experiences lead to our beliefs. And then our beliefs, well, they're tempered by our choices, and they bring about results. Hi, I'm J Loren Norris, and you're watching the Leading Leaders podcast, and I welcome you. I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad you're a part of this journey with us to discover what are the things in life that we need to do to take control of our own circumstances, to boost where we are to the next level. How do we break the pattern of the circumstances that we find ourselves in right now? Is there some kind of feedback loop that we're stuck in, that no matter what happens in our life, it's always going to come back to this? Some people who live in a life of drama, who have always experienced poverty or real close to it, who have always dealt with addictions and alcoholism and drug addictions in their home, whether it's their parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles, it seems like those cycles, they just repeat themselves again and again and again. And when someone tries to break free, it's like this tractor beam from the days of Star Trek. They make their way out and they get sucked right back into the same old drama and the same repetitive cycle. And suddenly the circumstances of their life look just like the circumstances of everyone else in their life for the last several generations. How can that be? How can that be? Why is it that way? Why is it that we can't seem to get out of the circumstances that we're currently in? Well, the answer is yes. There is a feedback loop. And the feedback loop looks like that pyramid short-circuited. By that I mean that the experiences that you have that create the beliefs that you hold, which give you the choices from which you get to choose, create the results or the outcome that you have. And the outcome, the circumstances, the results that you have, that becomes your experiences, which reinforce your beliefs, which give you the same choices, which lead you right back to the same results. There's an old phrase that people have used in many, many different contexts. The phrase simply says, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome, is called insanity. It's called insanity. So when you do things in your life which are non-productive, or even worse, counterproductive, you know, those things that you do on a continuum that if I continue to do it at this level, as hard as I can, for as long as I can, as fast as I can, the efficiency comes into that productivity. So you're producing and reproducing on a regular basis, and that's a great thing. But sometimes you slip just a little bit, and what you're doing isn't quite as productive. You're still putting in an effort, but not quite as much effort as you need to. You're still getting things done, but not quite as many things as you need to. And so it's kind of slipping. You're losing ground. Then there are those things that you do, like sitting on the couch eating Doritos, watching television all day, that, well, they're just not productive at all. I mean, there's like no production. There's no achievement. There's no accomplishment. There's no education. There's no learning. There's no success. There's no personal growth. There's nothing. It's just unproductive. Doritos and ice cream all day long. It doesn't do anything for anybody that turns out good. And yet, that is a circumstance many people find themselves in, and they're sitting on the couch, munching on Doritos, and asking themselves, why am I so unproductive? And the answer really is right in front of their face, and all over their face, in the form of cheese. True story. But see, there's one more step, and that is to go from productive to limited production, or just getting by, to unproductive to counterproductive. And this might be a person who says, in January, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, or I'm going to lose 5 pounds. And by Valentine's Day, they're sitting on the couch and eating every one of the little chocolate hearts out of the big box of chocolates they got for Valentine's Day for themselves, because they can't seem to keep a relationship on track. And that's counterproductive because they're actually doing activity, doing things, making choices, taking action on those choices, which are exactly the opposite of the goals that they set for themselves. People do it financially as well. People will make a decision that I want to buy a new car. And then every time they turn around, there's a little $20 sale and or $30 there and a $50 there and $100 there. And they can't figure out why they never have the money to buy a new car. Well, it's because they're not saving their money or managing what they do have very well. And those are exactly what causes your money to evaporate. And that's not just, it's not productive for sure. Because that might look like putting $20 into an envelope and then hiding it from yourself. Or putting $20 in the same envelope on a regular basis and making sure that somebody else is keeping an eye on you to make sure you're not taking that money out of there. That would be a productive way to save money. A very simplistic, no institutions, no investment kind of way, but it would work. Then there might be the kind of productive, instead of the $20 you committed to, you put 5 or 10 or 2 or 3 here and there and 25 here and there. You feel like you've really made up some ground, and then you count the envelope and you're like 8 weeks behind. That's not really productive. And then the unproductive would be putting absolutely nothing in the envelope. The counterproductive would be spending all the money that you intended to put in the envelope on things that have nothing to do with what your goals and future are. Are you beginning to see how these cycles, the circumstances we find ourselves in, I'm broke, I'm overweight, my health isn't good, are the result of the choices that we make every day? And if the choices that we make every day are the result of the belief system that we have about ourselves caused by the experiences, then we might look in the mirror and say, well, I'm fat and unlovable. Why do I even bother with relationships? I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the looks. I don't have... And so we blame the circumstances we've created on the circumstances we don't like. The choices that we've made feed back into those experiences, which reinforce the beliefs that we had to begin with. I believe I'm fat and unlovable. I believe that I'll never have a great relationship. I believe I'll never have the money to buy a new car. I'll never have the money to buy a new house. I'll never finish that education. And because we believe those things based on the experiences we've had, we're just stuck in a loop. So the question of the day is, how do you break the loop? How do you get to the place where the circumstances aren't dictating the circumstances? Instead, your beliefs and your choices are dictating the outcomes, which change the circumstances so that you continue to modify those. See, even a management feedback loop looks very much the same. We hire people for what they claim they can do, for what they have done in the past, for what their resume says they can do, what their education says they can do, and then we fire them for who they are because their belief system and their choices are all jacked up. And so what they do in the job is not what they're capable of in the job. And so we end up having to let them go because they're stealing things or they're unproductive or they're counterproductive. They're actually doing things that are damaging the progress they should be enhancing. How do we fix it? How do we break the loop? It really is more simple than you might think. And that is, you've got to find something that fits in that space, the liminal space between belief and choice, that inspires you, that motivates you, that causes you to choose differently. See, it's easy to look at the circumstances that we're in and say, this is just life the way it's been handed to me. There's nothing I can do about it. To believe that then, like I mentioned before, that the world is out to get me, means that those circumstances are the best you'll ever have. And you believe that everybody and everything around you is working to make sure that you have the worst circumstances ever. And your experiences look like the worst circumstances ever. And so now you have a belief system that reinforces the circumstances that you find yourself in. Where you have to make an insertion is in a set of choices. Because whether you like to acknowledge this truth or not, what you believe is up to you. See, The relationship between belief and choice is a two-way street. You get to choose what you believe about the circumstances you find yourself in. The experiences don't dictate your beliefs. Your beliefs are the way you choose to look at them. So let's use our two simple analogies about diet and finance. You might say, well, it's real easy for you to say put $20 in an envelope. I don't get an extra $20 every week. Okay, we could look at simple math and say bills, budget, income, you just can't do the math and find an extra 20 bucks. But then we'd also have to ask the question, as we look at the bills and the budget on a deeper level, do we find that maybe there's, I don't know, $2 to donuts here and $5 to a bag of chips there and $2.99 for a soft drink here that honestly could have been skipped? I mean, as you look at the end of the budget, at the end of the month, it's easy to say, here's the income and here's the budget. It's just not going to match up. There's no extra $20 there. But it's what you do every day that makes the difference. So you can simply believe the end of the month numbers and go, see, income, outflow, no margin, no budget, no $20 there to put in an envelope. Or you can dig into the daily choices. Wow, there's that word again, choices. The daily choices that you make and say, are the daily choices I'm making today, are each one of these tiny decisions feeding into the results that I want to have? Are they reinforcing the beliefs and experiences I already have? If I already believe that I'm broke and fat and unlovable, but I'm standing in line to buy a bunch of junk food that's going to make me even heavier, less healthy, and even more broke. Are those choices changing your belief system or reinforcing it? Are those choices and those beliefs changing your experience or reinforcing it? Now see, if we continue to follow this path from experience to belief to choices, the results are going to look just like the current circumstances. And now's where you have the chance to change everything. Standing in line to buy the junk food, you have to choose. Just decide. It's a matter of will. Believe it or not, the one thing God Almighty himself won't change for you. It's up to you. But choices are a matter of the will, and you have to choose. What about the day can I change to alter my beliefs and my circumstances so that I get different results? Put down the licorice. Step away from the chocolate bar. But think about it this way. What if you rang it up and the guy says, that'll be $19.57. What if instead of giving it to him, you say, you know what? I don't need that. I'm going to take that money and put it in an envelope toward my new car. See, that's a choice. That's a change in behavior that comes from a choice, from a decision that you made that will alter over the course of time what you believe about yourself. See, the minute you put that in that envelope and think, I've stopped damaging my body and destroying my health, and I've started saving money. Instead of the belief system that says that I'm fat and unlovable and I'm always going to be broke, instantly you have the ability to believe about yourself, I have the discipline to change. I can do this. And it doesn't matter what the microcosmic moment of your life is. If it's yelling at your spouse or raising your voice at your children or getting frustrated in traffic or constantly dropping things because you tell yourself you're just clumsy. All of those things can be changed by a matter of will, a matter of choice. And as you choose to see those things differently and change your belief structure around them, the experiences of your life are going to look differently. Now, sure, there will still be things that happen to you, like the car that crashed into you at the red light, or losing your job because of mismanagement at the higher levels, or You bought the car and didn't realize it was a lemon. All of those things can happen to all of us at any moment. And those may be circumstances we can't change. But how we view them, what we believe about them, how we choose to react to them, those we have power over. We have power to change the circumstances of our life because we have the power to choose. And when we choose, we control. We control our destiny. We control our future. We control our circumstances, at least as much as within our power. Will there be circumstances we can't control? Of course there will be. Will there be opportunities to choose to react in anger or react with peace? To react with revenge or react with forgiveness? To react with prudent discovery and decisions that change how we manage our money, or to react horribly and just blow it? See, these daily disciplines are daily choices. And the little tiny insignificant ones in the way that you look at them now could be the ones that change you forever. It doesn't take a radical diet change when you eat 3 pieces of cake a day. It doesn't take 9 pounds of broccoli to overwhelm that. It takes put down the fork and step away from the cake. It's a choice. A choice that will impact your belief system. And a choice that will change your circumstances. In all realms of leadership, no matter how high you reach as the CEO of a major corporation or the owner of a single operator janitorial business, just yourself at a broom, at every one of those levels, if you don't lead you, if you're not making the choices in your life that are going to change your belief systems and your circumstances, you will never have the power to lead others. You hear me say that clearly enough? If you don't lead you, you will never have the power or the influence to lead others. Because no one wants to follow you into the circumstances that you're living in. If the circumstances you're living in aren't rewarding, aren't fruitful, aren't accomplished, who wants them? If the choices that you make on a daily basis don't lead to results that others desire, why would they want you to teach them to make the same choices? Why would they want those choices in their life? Those experiences in their life? That belief system in their life? See, we all have a chance to influence, but it all starts with how we lead ourselves, the daily choices that we make to feed our experiences through our belief system. I want to challenge you to ask yourself with every decision you make today, is this decision unproductive? Is it counterproductive? Is it pushing against my success? Or is it productive? Is it investing in my future? This one small decision, do I go to the gym or don't? Maybe it's a schedule problem, maybe it's a discipline problem, but it's always a choice. Will you choose to do what you need to do to be productive, to move towards your future? Or will you choose to be counterproductive and destroy your future? Choice is the difference between the circumstances you're in now and the circumstances you long for. I challenge you to look at every decision you make today and ask yourself that question. Is this the circumstance I'm already in or the one I'm striving for? It's all up to you. Thanks for joining us here on Leading Leaders Podcast. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.